everybody, welcome back to the Balanced Astrology Podcast. I'm your host and astrologer Ashley, and we have reached the final full moon of the year. It is a supermoon. It's happening in Gemini, and it's called the Cold Moon. And honestly, here where I live in the north, it feels like winter whispered its way in overnight. It is cold. The temps have dropped, and everything suddenly feels still, crystalline, like the world is holding its breath. And this is the final exhale before the year ends. And it's happening on December 4th at 5:14 p.m. here in Central Time. And there's something else about this full moon that I cannot ignore. It's happening at 13 degrees. 13 degrees of Gemini. Well, 13 degrees in astrology. This is a degree of transformation, initiation, truth-telling. It's the moment where the old self cracks open so the real one can breathe. And this moon is not soft about that at all. 13 is the number of death and rebirth and alchemy. Very Scorpio-esque, very Pluto essence. When a planet reaches 13 degrees, the experience is often like a cycle is reaching an end, it's a turning point. There is some revelations that surface. So if you have anything at 13 degrees in your chart, especially if it's in Gemini or Virgo or Sagittarius, Pisces, buckle up because this moon is tapping you on the shoulder directly. And so this is the kind of astrology, when you look at the sky, that interrupts the internal script. This, when a moon hits 13 degrees, it can feel like an awakening point, like truth is coming to light. Emotional clarity begins to break through the fog. It can feel like a sudden knowing, or a message is being delivered, something is being downloaded, and it can feel very faded. And that plays so beautifully with Gemini, because we're talking about downloads, we're talking about messages and intuitive hits, and really this illumination through communication. And so I wanted to bring up a little numerology of 13 because I find this to be interesting to weave as well. In numerology, 1 is new beginnings. 3 is expression and creation and movement. And so together, they collapse down and they create 4. And this is the number of foundation, of structure, of commitment. And so 13, when you look at it, is transform, then restabilize. Sorry if you hear Aura, she's running around in the background here. Very active. I try not to always have her in the room while I'm podcasting because she is very active, but I'm literally in my office. I didn't want to walk all the way back down to the house to put her in there, and I was hoping that she would stay quiet. So if you notice a little jingle, a little jangle, that's her collar. She will probably make her appearance. She's either sitting with me or on my desk. But anyway, interrupting my numerology dissertation here. So 13 is transformation, then restabilize. And so it is that very Scorpio-esque process of death, rebirth, and then a grounding cycle. And so not only is this moon happening in Gemini at 13 degrees of transformation, of truth, it's pulling the whole sky into a mutable grand cross. This is a formation in astrology where the sun, the moon, and the nodes of fate, so the north node and the south node, are all meeting at the same degree of 13. It is tension, but it's divine tension. This is the kind of tension that turns the wheel, that forces you to move. You may feel stuck, you may feel this tension, but we're in a mutable type of energy. We're in an air moon. It's fire, it's air. And so this is the kind of energy that reroutes destiny in a way, that accelerates, that triggers, that says you cannot unknow what you are about to understand. And so that's exactly the heart and the sentiment of this Gemini and Sagittarius axis. The sun is in Sagittarius, the moon is opposite in its sister sign in Gemini. This is where the mind meets meaning. And Gemini gathers all the facts and all of the threads and all of the ideas. And then Sagittarius stretches those threads across the sky and asks, what does this truth weave? What wisdom is emerging from all of these pieces? And notice those types of conversations inside of you. The scattered thoughts that you have collected over the years, this year, the years. We're just going to focus on this year right now. Hold on, Ashley. All of the scattered thoughts that you have collected over this year, all of the insights and the puzzles and the curiosities, they're starting to check, aren't they? This Sagittarius season has been pouring fire behind that and turning all of this information into this instinct, into this knowing, into this understanding. There seems to be this feeling of pulling in a direction, pulling you into a direction, a moment to truly move. And layered under all of this, so not only do we have this very faded grand cross in the sky, but we have this deep intuitive undercurrent because we still have that grand trine in the sign of water. And it's whispering into this moment. It's creeping into the soft cracks and the soft spaces. It's softening everything. It's filling the spaces between the thoughts with something that feels like a quiet knowing. And this kind of feels like, to me, this intuition that's rising from your bones that you can't ignore, like a dream. And suddenly you're speaking that language that you suddenly understand. And it's this message that's weaving through the cracks, revealing itself, coming out of the fog, asking you to trust as much as you trust what you feel as much as what you know. It's marrying these two parts of you together. Let all of the pieces talk to each other. Let the insight, let the intuition, and let it all braid itself together. And this is the moment when something really clicks. All of these ingredients coming together, not just in your mind, but from a greater, higher perspective, from your soul. And being that this is that final full moon of the year, we can't move forward unless we take a look back at where we have been. And full moons always bring up illumination. Obviously, it's a big, bright spotlight in the sky. But full moons bring endings, they bring clarity, they bring things to light. That's why they're here, to highlight that which was in the shadows, that which cannot be ignored anymore. The moment where the light is so bright where you finally see the truth for what it is. And this one, she is asking us to trace the story back to where this all began. And where this all began is where we started this lunar cycle. We started this lunar cycle back on May 26th of this year with that new moon in Gemini. Something was planted back then, whether that's a thought, a dream, a curiosity, a spark. And with this full moon now in Gemini, it's closing that loop. It's closing that loop, really not only of the last 6 months, but really of this whole year. It's the final full moon of the year. And so, who are you now that we've reached the end of the year? Who are you after this year that you just lived? What did you learn? What did you lose? What did you release? And most importantly, what story will you no longer carry with you into 2026? This is where the magic of Gemini really steps in, because Gemini is the storyteller. A full moon in Gemini. Gemini is the questioner, the one who whispers, yeah, but what if? Have you thought about this? I was thinking maybe. And this moon may bring this overwhelming urge for you to express yourself in very Gemini-esque ways, whether that's through writing or speaking or journaling or voice noting, creating something, pouring something out that has been tucked away inside of you. Kind of a last like hurrah, a last full on wave of energy, because this is that 13th degree. Something has to change. Something is shifting. Something is changing. And so it's these questions that you may be receiving and downloading, these insights that come in very quickly through the mind. This moon may bring curiosity about your inner world, about your feelings. It wants you to. It wants you to really get back to the root of why you have that thought, or where did that come from, where is this rooted, what belief system got you to this point of where you are at right now, to hold up the mirror, okay, and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself, and is that even true anymore? That could be truly this breakthrough. The tension that you may be experiencing with this full moon is because it's the sun and the moon. It's our consciousness, which is the sun. The moon is our unconscious. And the nodes of fate are our past and our future. And so something has to shift here. Something is being illuminated, brought to the surface, that you can no longer carry that which you were into that which you are becoming. And so that's because Gemini is the sign of the mind. All of this is happening through the mind. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which rules our thought process. And so all of that to say, what you think, the words that you speak, these are like spells. Your mind is so powerful. Your thoughts are so powerful. They shape your reality. And this moon is not here to clutter or scatter or bring that tension to your mind for any reason but to help you become the observer of those thoughts, to get to the root of the narrative that you are living, the story that you are telling. Because as this moment that we're at of transformation, it's like this moon is handing you the pen and says, you write the story. You know how powerful you are. You know what thoughts you keep entertaining. Ask the questions why. Are they helping you or are they holding you back? Do the thoughts you entertain and your mindset, is that part of your growth, of where you're going, your future self? Or is that limiting you from your past? So watch your thoughts, watch the narratives, the things that come up where you notice, I'm done repeating this cycle. I'm done repeating this story. This doesn't even align with me anymore. What is ready to really dissolve? Because with a full moon at 13 degrees, a mutable grand cross in the sky, this one is really a threshold moment of past and future, and asking you to really get in touch with what's in your mind, what are you feeling, and connecting the two. And that's why it kind of feels like it's karmic, this tension. It is your thoughts, your ideas, your words, your emotions. They're all forming this intersection, this four-way intersection, and who is going to move. And so that's why it feels evolutionary. Whenever the nodes of fate are involved, it feels like it carries more weight. Of course, this is a super moon. Of course, it is, the last moon of the year. She's carrying so much with her, so much information, so much destiny. And so you may feel stretched. You really might feel pulled between who you were and who you're becoming. But this moon wants you to ask the questions, to get curious about entertaining new perspectives. What information have you gathered? You have a full year of experience and information behind you. What are you going to do with that? Who do you want to be? What future are you calling in? What aligns and what doesn't? What narratives need to be rewritten? Because this is that moment where it's highlighted for you to do just that. And I love a Sagittarius full moon because this season, Sagittarius has been inspiring us to dream, to get inspired, to see the big picture. And now we have this moon in Gemini, which Gemini gives you then the steps, the conversations, the connections, the strategy, the words to bring that into fruition. And so look up. This full moon is alignment, it's clarity, it's speaking to you, it's merging meaning with mindset. And it's a reminder that your mind is yours. Your story is also only yours. And you get to choose your thoughts with love and intention, and not to let your thoughts limit you and not limit your becoming. That this belief, it's Sagittarius season, it's what we believe in, what we trust, something higher, something greater. Trust that vision, trust in what you're becoming, and trust in the message that your soul is connecting you with right now. And so when I look at my chart and I look at this full moon and where it's happening, this is landing in my 6th house, which is the realm of routines and rhythm and health and daily devotion. And honestly, that all really checks out for me because I am in a big transition right now. I'm moving. And I'm moving into a physical store, my own space at Divine North in Nisswa. I have my own office. My entire workflow, my entire life is changing. I'm stepping out of my tower here. I'm stepping out of my treehouse and this cocoon that I've been in, and I'm stepping into community in the flesh, face to face, making soul to soul connections in a way that I've never done in this capacity before. And it's terrifying. It is a moment of absolute, letting go of what was, realigning what my day to day looks like, how I take care of myself through this, because honestly, there's so many things that I'm working through professionally and personally. At this time, my health is truly something that I need to be really, really honest and serious, responsible about, because there is so much transition, and that is so important to me because I can't serve and I can't help and heal if I'm not healing and being helped myself. And all of that to say, that's all beautiful because it's asking me to evolve, and I'm 100% aligned with that. Evolve my habits, my rituals, the way I take care of myself, and asking all the questions, right? Asking all the questions. Does this align with where I'm going? How did I get here? What's not coming with me? What daily tasks, what thoughts do I entertain that no longer serve me? And that's why I love astrology, in that it doesn't tell you what is happening. It tells you where to look. It tells you where it's happening and how to work with the energy. What may need your attention, what you could expect. And so, questions, because Gemini loves questions. Here's some questions for you under this full moon to entertain. If you really want to sink in, if you really want to sink into this moon, Think about these questions in your own life. What story am I ready to finally release? What belief no longer feels true? What truth then is asking for my attention? Are there conversations that I need to have, either with myself or with someone else? What chapter am I closing as this year ends? What am I leaving here? And who am I becoming? What does she think? What does she choose? What does she believe? Let these questions unravel you. Let them free you. Because that's the work that we do in astrology, with the moon cycles, in life. Now, before we close today, I want to close with some exciting things because full moons are also a time of celebration. See how far we've come. It's a culmination point. How did we do? Well, here are a few things on what I have going on that definitely started 6 months ago under the new moon in Gemini. But even just this year in 2025, this year has been I can't even fathom. If I go back to the beginning of the year and I have a conversation with myself and I let myself in on all that happened in 2025, I don't know. Would I do it again? Yes, because it's getting me to where I'm going, but this year has been wild. But so many good things have come this year. I am, like I said, I'm officially in my own space. You can come see me at Divine North in Nisswa. I cannot wait for you to experience this space. So many magical things are coming and are going to come out of this. Such an amazing space for community and magic and learning where we can connect face to face. We can connect with the community together. We can learn together. I can hold sound baths here. I can hold ceremonies here. It's so exciting, and I am so honored to be part of it. Now, it's still Sagittarius season. So, Sagittarius, I want to see you. You get your 15% off your reading with me. And I'm so happy now that I have my own space that I can offer 15% off for you both in person or online, whichever you choose. So, come and see me. And I still have my sound baths every other Wednesday at Notice Wellness, but we just extended them to a full hour because really we want to just really ground into these sessions and use them as a ritual. They're on the calendar every other week. And so many of you were asking for more time, even though that 30-minute session was maybe just what we needed. This really allows us to unfold into the intention of what that sound healing session should be. And what a beautiful way to honor this full moon, because we're all going to be feeling it. We're all going to feel this heightened energy with this full moon. What a beautiful way to honor yourself, to connect with yourself, your intuition, that inner voice, to do this work that we're doing under this full moon with a sound bath. So that's 5:30 at Notice Wellness. Come and see me. And I still have some spaces available for December if you are looking for any private events, any private sound baths, you want to plan an astrology night, DM me or reach out to my email, Ashley at ashleybelleastrology.com, and let's get that planned. It's a perfect way to end the year with intention and joy, and of course, a little bit of magic. Thank you so much for being here, for being with me under this full moon in Gemini. Let me leave you with this. May your mind soften. May your heart open. And your truth rise. Stay curious. Stay luminous. And keep creating your story. From my heart to yours,